Hey guys, how's it going? Hitik here from HY Utilities, and today we are going to be discussing consoles.
Yeah, I know nothing of consoles, so obviously I'm going to be asking him questions about the new consoles, and eventually we may come to a decision whether I should get one or not. I doubt I will, because I'm Ramit and I never will like a console.
Alright. So last week, I quizzed Ramit on the NSA, and this week he's going to quiz me on consoles. So, shall we get started?
Indeed. What do you think are the major improvements with the new console generation compared to the previous one?
I think both the hardware and software have been reimagined. So, as you know, the Xbox One is kind of still the same thing. It's based on the Windows NT kernel, which is mostly based on the Windows PCs. It retains the same design from the Xbox 360. It's pretty similar. There's a few visual tweaks, but that's pretty much it. And yeah, that's the Xbox One. The PS4, that software has been completely reimagined, because before it used to have a cross menu bar, but now it has a dynamic menu bar. So it's more like fluid to use. It's more simpler to use than the cross menu bar, because that had all of the settings in one row, but now you can access it from other places. It just makes it more intuitive to use.
Yep. Now, with hardware, I've heard a few good things, but I'm not going to count on any of them because they're probably unreliable.
I think with every major update to these consoles, there's always some groundbreaking technology being implemented. So, with the Xbox, it now has 8 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM. Coming from 512 megabytes, it's a great improvement. It runs much smoother.
Yeah, and I can also imagine them now starting to be on par with computers.
Yeah, I guess it's never going to be as powerful as a computer.
Yeah,
Never
because
will be.
computers will always be low, mid, high range,
Yeah.
whereas consoles will normally be around mid-range.
Mid-ranged, yeah. The specs of this Xbox is really, really good. I mean, it's got 8-core custom-designed CPU from AMD, which most Xbox exclusive games utilize, so that you can get a further render distance, more things happening than you would ever be able to do on Xbox 360. As I said earlier, 8 gigs of RAM. It's got a 500 gig hard drive, which is not user replaceable, unlike the PS4. So that the PS4 can be upgraded to a SSD or a SSHD, if you will. It has a
or
Blu-ray
even a
drive.
hybrid if you were going to go that far.
Yeah. It has a Blu-ray drive, which the previous Xbox didn't have. It's always had wireless HDMI in and out, so you can now connect your cable box to the Xbox, so you can watch your TV through your Xbox, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, but it also means other people can... Well, you can also have other things like computers going into it if you wanted. So it's probably going to make things like screen capturing a little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean, you could also have the PS4 connected to it, so you can play PS4 and the Xbox One through only one HDMI cable, really.
Which could be advantageous if you have both consoles, but I doubt people will have both because, well, they're quite expensive.
Yeah. So let's move on to the PS4. This also has 8 gigabytes of... No, it has 8 gigabytes of GDDR5 memory, so that's much more improved, since now this is also using graphics memory to utilize all of the rendering. So now it doesn't need a separate chip. All of it's integrated. So RAM, graphics memory, all squished into one. This also has a custom designed AMD CPU, which is also 8 cores.
It seems that AMD is very popular among consoles.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that Intel is favored among computers because they're just general.
As I said earlier, this has a user replaceable 500 gig hard drive, so
you could place a terabyte in there if you wanted, even 2 terabytes if you were wanting to go that far.
If you want, whatever floats your boat, really. This again has a Blu-ray drive. You know, is standard these days. PS4, however, does have legacy support. Just now they're bringing out PS Now, so you can play games from the PS1 on your PS4.
Something which I presume the Xbox doesn't have, so it's not backwards compatible, which has annoyed a few people, I would imagine.
Yeah. You see, the problem with the Xbox One is that it uses a new kernel from the previous version of the Xbox 360. The design, albeit, is slightly different, but the kernel is... The whole system's been redesigned from the ground up. So, I guess, yeah, that's pretty much all the major improvements. But there is one big difference, which affects quality greatly. The PS4 can only play 720p games.
Oh, God.
Xbox One can play full 1080p games if you have a compatible TV.
Yep. And so now that's going to be a limiting factor to some people, because if you have a particularly large screen, you'd want 1080p, because 720p would be like watching 480 on a 1333 resolution screen.
Yeah.
It's just, it would look more pixelated. So, yeah, that's going to be a factor for most people to consider.
Yeah. So, next question.
Yes, indeed. So, which games are exclusive to these consoles?
Okay, I'm gonna go... Okay, so I think I'll talk about the console exclusives, but then I'll talk about which ones I like more. So we'll jump off with the Xbox. These are all of the games that are exclusive. So it's Crimson Dragon, D4, Dead Rising 3, Fable Legends, Fighter Within, Forza Motorsport 5, Halo, Killer Instinct Classic, Kinect Sports, obviously, Power Star Golf, Quantum Break, Rise, Son of Rome, Sunset Overdrive, Xbox Fitness, Below, Peggle 2, Plants vs. Zombies, Garden Warfare. Oops, no. Below, Peggle 2 and Plants vs. Zombies is not exclusive. It's PS4 as well. So the PS4 games you have is Backgammon Blitz, Basement Crawl, Drive Club, Earth Defense Force, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, The Idolmaster, Infamous Second Son, Joy Sound Dive 2, Killzone Shadowfall, Knack, Lady Bermango, Mobile Suit Gundam, N++, Nicolino Puzzle 4 Sudoku, The Order 1886, Phantom Breaker, Battlegrounds Overdrive, Paw Nation Extreme FX, Pure Paw, Resogun, Rhyme, Shadow of the Beast, Totemo e Mahjong Plus, Uncharted 4, Velocity 2X, Doki Doki. Velocity 2X is the last exclusive title. Okay. I think I'll talk about which games I like more. I'm going to go with the Xbox One here. Xbox One has more console exclusive titles that I've seen and I think I like more. Those being Dead Rising 3 and Killer Instinct. Forza Motorsport 5 and Killer Instinct.
Now, in my opinion, I think I would go with the Xbox because I'm unlikely to need on any other HDMI ports or anything like that. But the reason I'd go with it is because I heard Fable Legends.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting game, I would think, because I have played the Fable series before and I quite enjoyed it.
It's a role-playing game.
Yeah, I know.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Originally was made by...
Yeah.
I believe it was Lionhead Studios who made a few of the beginning games. But yeah. So, I think I would go with the Xbox One. It's... By the sounds of it, it's vastly improved to the Xbox, and I honestly would prefer I prefer how the Xbox One looks because it's just simple.
Yeah. So, last question, I believe.
Yeah. How are they compared to computers? Now, I'm not talking about any specific range of computers. So, obviously, they're much better than the low parts of the mid-range of computers. But how do they compare to, for example, mid-range computers? Or computers that cost a similar amount to these consoles. So, let's have a look at how much they cost.
For the sake of argument, I say we change it to the high range of PCs.
Okay. So, firstly, how much do these consoles cost?
Well, the PS4 in England costs £349, I believe.
So about 350.
Yeah, and I think the
Xbox
One,
is, I think it was £100 more expensive when
Yeah.
it was originally released.
Yeah.
But I think Microsoft took down the prices because...
let me just quickly check on Amazon. I'm pretty sure that the Xbox One is £450 here in the UK.
Okay, so it's the same price. Now, I know when they were being released that there was a lot of controversy because, well, the Xbox One was £100 more expensive. So people were less likely to get it. Have you got a price now?
Yeah, it's 429 quid. So
Okay, so so they're both very similar in price.
yeah, I think people can't complain that the Xbox One is more because you get more things with the Xbox One.
Yeah, you get the new Kinect, don't you?
Yeah, you get the new Kinect. I say there's more things in the Xbox. Like you get a load of free content which isn't previously available to. So I'm talking specifically about the Xbox One console itself. I'm not talking about the Game One edition. So
now, I'm currently having a look at a few computers which are about £400 or so, and it seems that they come with a terabyte of hard drive quite easily as a standard and 8 gigabytes of RAM as a standard. So they seem to be quite similar to the actual, well, yeah, there's a few abnormalities now, but they're very similar to the consoles.
now, I think what we're forgetting here is that these are pure consoles.
Yeah.
Right? So the chips have been designed specifically for gaming.
Yeah.
There's more things you can do on a PC than you can do with Xbox.
Yeah, which is probably where the PC has a small upper hand. But when it comes to actual gaming, you're not as likely to get as many frames as a second.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're going to get limited occasionally by games, because games on certain consoles which aren't properly made have a limited frame rate, which is annoying.
Now, I say the primary difference from PC next console is the immersion, because with a PC you can get up to 6 screens, something you can't do with an Xbox or PS4. So I think content-wise, you're likely to, if you want a greater experience, you go with the PC. But if you're not that fussed, you just want to play all the latest games, I think go with the Xbox or PS4.
Yeah, and as I can see now, there are a few abnormalities with this, whereas, for example, this one here is about £530, but it only comes with 4 gigs of memory, whereas some of the cheaper ones come with more memory. So there are always abnormalities with computers, which is something you have to be careful about when buying a computer. But when you're buying a console, you know what you're going to get, quite simply.
That's pretty much all it is, really. So
Yeah.
I think we'll wrap it up for that. So thanks for listening, guys. I, as always, hope you guys liked it. If you're feeling awesome, like this video, drop us a subscription. But other than that, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter.
Yep.
And I'll catch you
And
later.
don't forget to place in the comments any ideas for next week's episode.
Yeah.
We're open to suggestion.
All right, cool. See ya.
Goodbye.
Bye.